Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Time Traveler's Handbook. We are on episode 4 of our discussion on Bill and Ted Face the Music. If you haven't watched the previous ones, there is a playlist that you can check out with all of the previous episodes. Spoilers ahead for Bill and Ted Face the Music. Today we're going to be talking about the time machines used in Bill and Ted. Specifically, there are 3 different methods of time travel that we can see throughout this film in particular. First, the iconic telephone box returns to this movie. It's the only time machine that was used in the other 2 movies, and it works basically the same in all of the movies. In essence, it's a machine constructed by a future society to transport you through the tubes of time, taking you to different literal points in time and space. The telephone box contains a telephone and a phone book. The phone book has addresses that will lead you to certain points in the tubes of time. So the user of the phone box would pick a time and place, find it in the book, and type the number into the telephone. Then, hanging up the telephone activates the machine and you are sent on your way. Additionally, on the telephone there is an infinity button, which the characters don't use until the end of the 3rd film, which we'll discuss in a later episode. I believe, although it's not really confirmed, that the real element of the time machine that makes it possible to travel through time is the antenna on the top. When it breaks in the first film, they find themselves stranded in the prehistoric times, meaning that they cannot control where the tubes would take them if they traveled again. Moving on, the second time machine is very similar to the first, and that is the new and improved time machine that Kelly, the daughter of Rufus, uses to retrieve Bill and Ted. It's egg-shaped, and for all intents and purposes, seems to be a dumbed-down version of the phone box time machine. It's not clear how coordinates are given to the machine to travel them through time, but the egg is a much more smooth and much more futuristic-looking device to do it with. It seems to operate under the same set of rules that the other time machines do, so there's not really a lot more to say about this one. And finally, the last time machine that is used in this film is the robot Dennis Caleb McCoy. Dennis has some sort of apparatus that he uses when he wants to time travel, and it simply transports anyone that is in contact with Dennis as well as himself to a destination he chooses. Presumably, he has some way to communicate with his present time, which is the future, to determine the locations that he needs to travel to, or he has some other way to track them through time. But otherwise, again, this is really no different from how the other time machines work. They all follow the same rules. I suppose that it really shouldn't be too much of a surprise that all the time machines do the same thing. That's a pretty good sign of a well-defined universe to show that there's only one way to time travel, and no matter how many different forms it comes in, you're going to have to follow the rules of the universe. It is nice to see some variety among the time machines themselves, and it's cool to see new concepts introduced into this universe in the final movie. That concludes our talk about the time machines in Bill and Ted. Next time we're going to be talking about hell. As always, thank you for listening.